Howdy folks, I'm here at McCarty Hill State Forest and I'm gonna go camping for the night. It's been really rainy the last couple of days, so it's a little wet and muddy, but it's not supposed to rain anymore tonight, so I'm hoping we don't get too sloppy out here. We've got this little short trail to go down, and I'm just hauling down my trusty camping crate. Got a nice big puddle here right before we get to the campsite, but I actually wore my rubber boots to be prepared. Splash right through this. Okay, here's our campsite. Doesn't look too bad. Small amount of cardboard trash, a little bit of wood left over. We'll clean that up and use it. Be able to put our tent here. It doesn't look too muddy or anything. It's nice and hard packed. So I think we're going to be okay. Time to bring in the rest of the gear. Okay, all my gear is down at camp. I started out by lighting off some mosquito repellent incense sticks around here because there's some little buggies flying around. First thing we got to do is crack into our crate. This is the ground tarp I'm going to put underneath my tent. I'm going to put that out of the way for a second. Some reading material for later this evening. I'm going to put that on the tarp, keep it dry. It's my, I forgot to watch this, but batteries and flashlights, electronics. Here's my tent. Put this over here. Got my little Stanley cook set again. My food is going to be pretty simple, although pretty satisfying today. We'll get all to that later. Of course, my rake. Open that up in a little bit. This is a little homemade fire starter I made, and we'll get into that later when I'm actually starting a fire. Oh, trusty stool. This is a new light that I got, spotlight thing. We're going to try that out later, see if I can film in the dark a little better. Been trying to film at night camping lately and just don't have the proper equipment, so we'll see if we get any better. Here's my collapsible little sink basin. Extra rope, I don't know if we're going to need or not. Leave that in there. Small lantern, large lantern. This is my wood collection bag. I use this for collecting firewood around the forest. Ooh, bag. It's my washing up supplies. Soap. Collapsible bag. One plate, one bowl, metal for later. Got my trail cam again. I haven't had any luck actually catching anything on this, but hey, if I do, it'll be in the video. Got my shovel. Always bring more than I need. Could get by with less, but I like stuff and I like comfort. These are legs for the cot. Out of the way. Just recently got myself some bear spray. Never run into any bears, but I figured it doesn't hurt to be prepared just in case. And there are some areas I'd like to get into that bumping into them is a little more likely. So just one of those preparation things. Here's my machete. My saw. Collapsible table. I'll get that set up in a little bit. And here, plan is to bust open this Coleman camp oven again. If you're a returning viewer, you may have seen me test this out for the first time a couple of weeks ago, making bread. Worked pretty good, so I'm going to try this out later. Probably in a separate video if it takes a little longer. And first aid, stay in there for now. I've got my large grill for the fire. Put that out of the way. Oh! Just crashed a few things. It all survived. Okay, I've got all the essentials out and ready, so let's get the campsite cleaned up and start setting things up. Alright, so I got my tent set up here. Usually I have to find some sticks to hook up here, but I was able to just tie it to that tree and then this tree over here. So I didn't have to find sticks. Okay, I think the next step is to get this fire pit cleaned up. It's been raining pretty hard around here the last couple of days, so everything is very wet. All the wood is soaked. So I did actually buy a bundle of wood in town. When I was almost to the forest, I stopped in the closest town to the gas station and grabbed some wood. It's nice and dry, so I might use a little bit to get started, but mainly I want some good clean wood for cooking when I set up my oven. I'm going to start wandering around camp, looking for some extra firewood. There's quite a bit of fallen sticks and branches and what have you all in the surrounding area, so I'm going to wander off for a little bit. Okay folks, I've got my camp pretty well set up and ready to go. Got a big pile of wet wood here over in the corner. I've got a little bundle of fresh gas station wood. Should be nice and dry. You can see it's looking pretty damp everywhere, but I think once we get things going, we won't have too much trouble. I did bring my homemade fire starter. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. And then there's quite a few birch trees nearby, so I'm going to find one that's fallen down and take a whole bunch of bark off of it to add to the mixture. So I think we'll get a fire going even though it's wet. While we're relaxing and just waiting for time to start the fire, let's check our temperatures. Brought my little unit here. This is the top number is my tent. I have one inside the tent. Second number is I put a sensor just beyond the tent. And then the bottom one is this unit here, right where we're sitting. So it's 67.4 Fahrenheit. You can see, I don't know if you can see the little frowny face. It's because we have pretty high humidity. It's very damp in the air. It's not raining, but it is a wet, just feeling kind of day. Let me give you, I always got to check my buttons here. I'll give you the Celsius numbers for those not in the US. It's pretty nice. It is early fall. It's technically fall. It's end of September, not quite October, but it's technically fall on the calendar. Pretty warm though. It's not supposed to even get that cold overnight. Maybe just below 60 Fahrenheit. So I'm not too worried even with the wetness in the fire if I struggle with it and it's hard to keep up and it's just kind of small and smoky. I'm not too worried about it. It'll be for atmosphere. I don't need it for warmth tonight. And even for cooking, I want to cook something in my Coleman oven, but I feel like that bundle of wood should be enough to get that job done. But beyond that, I'm not getting too fancy for dinner. So for now, I'm gonna relax and enjoy the peaceful, quiet nature of this forest. It's just an absolutely wonderful day, despite being a little cloudy and a little humid. It's calm, it's peaceful, it's quiet. I can hear just a few birds in the distance making some little sounds. It's just a great day to be in the woods relaxing. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll check back in with you when I'm ready to start my fire. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start my fire because I want to be able to do my baking before it gets too dark. The sun is setting earlier and earlier. I got about 2 hours from now until sunset and probably about an hour till things start to get a little too dark to film. So we'll have to see if our spotlight comes in handy and helps us finish filming today. But anyway, I've got gas station bought wood here. I've got a pile of wet little tinder, small pieces, slightly less wet. Nice big pile of birch bark here. Some shredded paper, but even that feels kind of wet. It's just been absorbing moisture from the air. Got all this wood to work with, but it's pretty wet. I made a little platform out of twigs. Try to use my little homemade fire starter here. This is dryer lint. Inside it is pine sap and bits of bark from a pine tree in my backyard. It leaks a lot of sap. There's quite a bit in here. So I think once this gets going, we're going to be in good shape. So let's try it out. Alright, so that worked out. I've got fire. It took me about 15-20 minutes of just layering birch bark with sticks and birch bark with sticks, but I only had to light it once and just kind of encourage it. And you can see it's pretty smoky still because all that little wood is pretty wet, but now that it's going good, once a good chunk of that small wet wood has burnt down, I'm going to add some more of my good wood. I'm going to set up my grill, I'm going to set up my oven, I'm going to get baking. So right now I'm just going to watch this fire get started. So now that I have my fire going, my grill set up, and my oven set up, I'm going to try to make some pie. And I'm going to do a separate video just focused on making the pie and how it turns out and all that. I'll show a little bit more in this video, but since this video is focused just on the overall camping experience, I'm not going to bog it down with too many extra minutes of baking stuff. But if you do like that sort of thing, check for a link in the description, and when I have both videos up, they'll be available. Alright, so I've got my pie in the oven, but I need to make some dinner. It's going to be pretty simple. Foil's flying out. Foil. Got some big tortillas. I was originally going to make myself burritos. I had the taco filling ready to go at home. I was going to bring, and forgot it. But I had to stop at the store to buy my pie anyway, so I improvised. I just got Korean barbecue plant-based deli slices. Never tried before. I already ate some cold. Made a few wraps cold while I was waiting throughout the day because I didn't have much lunch, but I'm going to do a couple hot now. So actually, I think before I put those on, I'm going to use this oat milk cheese. Ooh. It's simple, but it'll fill me up enough. I want to save room for pie. I'm hoping my pie works out. Put that on the hot grill. I'm actually going to make a second one too. I think 2 of these would go down nicely. So I've got my foil wraps actually up on top of the oven here, and they're getting pretty hot. I think they're about done. The many uses of the Coleman camp oven. Okay, it's dinner time. These simple wraps here, and I just had them cooking on top of the Coleman oven. They got a nice little bit of browning on them. This one especially got some nice color. Crisp, super hot. Let this cool down before I can really dig in. Got some corn chips to go with. Oh. Whew. Hot, well good. Let's dig into this pie. Well, it's actually quite a bit warmer than I thought, but that's good. Holy smokes. Yeah, that worked really well. Fresh baked steamy pie in the forest. Well, folks, it's getting pretty late. I burnt through pretty much all my firewood. About the perfect amount. Still got a little pile smoldering here. Been tidying up my camp. Got all my things together. Got my tent over here. Some lights up. I ate about half that pie. I'm stuffed. I'm going to put the other half in my car so the critters don't get to it. Here, before we turn in, we can take a look at our temperatures. 73 by the fire, but away from the fire we're looking at 59, 58 with 85 to 92% humidity. There's the Celsius for you. So yeah, it's pretty humid out here. I'm going to go ahead and crawl in, head to bed, and talk to you folks in the morning. Well, good morning, folks. Waking up here in the forest. I was hoping to have some hot coals left in my fire, but no luck there. So I gathered up all the half-burnt stuff into a pile. Got a whole bunch more birch bark, some new sticks, and we're gonna see if we can relight this fire for the morning. Well, this fire was a little stubborn to start, and it's been a little smoky, but we got it going now. I went ahead and pulled my cot and sleeping bag and everything out of my tent, so it could start airing out. It was pretty humid last night, it's a lot of dew on things. Take a look at our temperatures. Currently, is it 58 here by the fire, 56, 57 out and about. There's our Celsius numbers, and here's, let's see, that's the coldest I got overnight. 57 in my sleeping bag, 55, 56 outside. I know the humidity was actually up to about 90% or more though. Got some water in my little Stanley pot there so I can make coffee here in a minute. Okay, so I've got some instant coffee here in my cup, my mug. And I've got leftover pie for breakfast. I was going to have oatmeal. I brought oatmeal with me, but I've got all this delicious pie sitting here, so I'm gonna have some pie for breakfast. And then I'm gonna start cleaning up camp. Well, folks, campsite's cleaned up. Got just a few last things to put in my car, and then it's time for me to head out of here. So I want to thank you for watching. Ask that you would subscribe, please. Leave a comment. like the video, and I'll see you next time.